إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله. بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة، فكشف الله به الغمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم صل وسلم على نبيك محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise be to Allah, the King of the world, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness no one is worthy of worship but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last and greatest messenger of Allah, was sent to mankind to bring them out of the darkness of this world to the light of this world and the hereafter, and from the injustices of religions to the justice of Islam. قال تعالى: إن الدين عند الله الإسلام. عباد الله، in the battle of Al-Khandaq, or the battle of the trench, يقول البراء بن عازب كما في المسند عند أحمد رحمه الله، يقول البراء بن عازب رضي الله عنه: كنا نحفر الخندق فعرض لنا صخرة. He said that while we are digging the trench, as you know, 10,000 pagans were attacking the Medina of the Prophet ﷺ, to destroy Islam. And from within the Medina, Bani Qurayza and the Jews of Qurayza also, who were supposed to protect part of Medina for their treaty with the Prophet ﷺ, they were cooperating with the pagans, that they will let them in. Then by the mercy of Allah, the Prophet ﷺ was able to know about that, and he plotted for both. But the plan was that they build a trench, they dig a trench around the Medina, and a trench, as you all know, big extended hole, or whatever you want to call it, space that people cannot, the horses and the pagans cannot cross. And they did that in 6 days. And it was huge, to a point where they could not find, the kuffar could not find a spot, a weak spot where they can cross over. Al-Bara bin Azib radiallahu anhu said that while we were digging, we came across a very solid boulder, very solid rock, very big solid rock, that we could not break with our axe, with our whatever, the tools they were, the primitive tools they were using. We couldn't break it. So we went to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now remember, I want you to be able to envision or imagine the situation and the mindset. You have a group of Muslims very much being stranded in a small area. Those are the Muslims of Medina. Very much the Muslims of the world, the real Muslims of the world. From two sides of Medina. You cannot, it's the kind of land and the kind of soil you cannot use to go across. And one side you have the Yahud of Bani Qurayza. And then the fourth side where the pagans are coming from, you build a trench. So even they cannot cross it, you cannot cross it. Same story. So now you're stranded, like a seed. And it's obviously common to think, normal to think, what if they cross? Those are 10,000 soldiers, mujahideen and soldiers well equipped. What if they cross? What if they figure out a way to cross over? فبلغت القلوب الحناجر. But the fear was there, serious fear and serious worries. And they have the women, and they have the children, and they have everything. But you can see the mental, emotional state. But they call on the Prophet ﷺ to tell them about this big rock. But he comes ﷺ. He takes the axe. And with the first hit, in the name of Allah, he breaks 1/3 of it. A couple of Sahaba. So the Sahaba said, Allahu Akbar. He said, Allahu Akbar, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. قال والله إني لأبصر والله إني لأبصر أو فتحت لي الشام والله إني لأبصر قصورها الحمراء من مكانها. He says, by Allah, I just given the promise I will conquer Sham, the Lebanon, the land of the Romans. And I see from my spot here its red palaces. Then he hit the second time, and he broke the second third, and they made takbir, and he said, فتحت لي فارس وإني لأبصر بيتها الأبيض من مكان هذا. He said, Persia has been opened for me, conquered for me. I will conquer Persia. And I see from my spot here its White House. And then he hits the third, where he destroyed the rest of it. And they make takbir. And he said, فتحت لي اليم وإني لأبصر أبواب صنعاء من مكانها. Yemen was open. And I see the gates of Sana'a from my spot here. Brothers and sisters, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam teaches us very valuable lesson that in the midst and in the times of the most stressful situations, in the times where you are expecting to be annihilated, in times where you feel so weakened, in times where between you and death is like them crossing the trench. 9 arms, that's how wide it was. And here the Prophet ﷺ teaching the companions and teaching the Ummah that if you know that Allah Azza wa Jal with you, you don't need to be worried or afraid. If you are standing for Allah Azza wa Jal, you will be victorious no matter what. If you stand your ground and do not compromise and do not give up for your cause, they will not win. That's what he's teaching them. That's what he's teaching us. That's today, 1400 years later. That's what we learned from this. They got that lesson right and they're implementing. Perhaps they are in the same situation and worse. Yet they stand the ground and they stand the order of their Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam not to give up and not to surrender. Even if we're going to be annihilated and we're going to lose everything, but we're not going to lose our faith. We're not going to lose our trust in Allah Azza wa Jalla. We're not going to lose our deen. We're not going to give up. And we're not going to surrender. And we're not going to compromise. And we're not going to accept to be humiliated and subjugated and insulted and enslaved. We're not. Muslim is the last one to accept it. No matter what the situations are, and no matter what the challenges are, a Muslim never gives up. Because if he is true Muslim, he always remember and he always believe, and it's always in front of his eyes that Allah Azza wa Jalla is with him. And whoever has Allah, and whoever finds Allah, doesn't lose anything. What did he lose? And whoever lost Allah, what did he win? What did he find? What did he gain? This is the Ummah of Islam. The Ummah of Islam gets sick, but doesn't die, and rises again and again and again. And when you look at what's happening today all around the world, when you see what's going on all around the world, you have to understand, you have to be wise enough, and it doesn't take much, to understand that Allah Azza wa Jalla is preparing this world for something major. And I had addressed this before. Allah Azza wa Jalla is preparing the people, the lands, the minds, the hearts for something big. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be part of it. Doesn't necessarily mean that Allah will use you. Then you should sit and cry when that happens. When you did not take it seriously in these times of preparation, don't think that you will be ready to be part of the final outcome. You will not. The way you failed in the time of preparation is the time when you will fail, when you're called. Allah Azza wa Jalla always tells you to prepare. He doesn't tell you just sit back and watch, and then when the right time comes, I'm gonna use you. Allah doesn't do that. Allah prepares. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ, along with Muhammad ﷺ, those who were in Mecca, prepared. For 13 years they were in Mecca. For 13 years they were in Mecca. Then another year plus in Medina. And all that time was just prepared. They were being prepared. They were being made. They took it upon themselves to get ready for the right time. Then Badr came. Oh. And if you cannot see that, you cannot see that this is the case, you cannot see that this is a time of preparation, this is a time of tamhiz, this is a time of separation, separating the truthful ones from the fake ones, from amongst us. If you're not going to see that, then don't expect to rejoice with the victory or to be part of it. Remember that. So that's why it's imperative upon each one of us to ask himself, am I being prepared? Am I preparing myself? And preparation takes so many facets, so many ways. And the first thing that should be is to recognize that it's a time of preparation. It's not a time of doubt. It's not a time of laziness. It's not a time of just sit back. It's not a time of relaxing. It's not a time, what can I do? It's nothing. This is weakness. This is not the way it is with Muslims. Muhammad ﷺ, in those times that we might be living exact same times where Muslims are on the verge of being demolished, he's telling them, we're going to conquer Yemen and Sham and Faris and Iraq. Your job is to prepare. Boom. But don't take things lightly. Don't take things easily and relax. If you want to be used, if you want to be part of it. وإن تتولوا يستبدل قوما غيركم ثم لا يكونوا أمثالكم. You do that, He will replace you with other people. He will put you aside, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will push you aside. He will get you to be busy with what you should not be busy with. And He will bring in people who are more serious and better than you. And they will not be like you. This is what He says in the Quran. When you turn away and turn your back from the preparation, He will replace you. There are enough people out there. There are enough people out there that Allah Azza wa Jal can use. So don't think that Islam needs you, or Islam will fail without you. Don't kid yourself. Ain't nothing without Islam, aslan. You and me, nothing without Islam. No matter what we have. No matter what we have. We're nothing. If you're devoid of Islam, you're nothing. Oh, so all these people out there who don't have Islam are not, they're nothing. Muslims who are not proud of their religion are nothing. They're nothing. Nothing. They're just burden of this world. They just consume the resources that were created for people to worship Allah, to use so they can worship Allah. That's what it is. Allah Azza wa Jalla created these things, everything to worship Him. So you can use to worship Him. He created everything for you to use to worship Him. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا وخلق وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. Oh, Allah Azza wa Jalla tells you, I created everything for you. And then someone else He tells you, I created you to worship me. So what does that mean? That means I created everything for you to use in the means of worshiping me. To use so you can worship me. To use so you can rely on it in the sense you need food to worship me, to stay alive. So I created food for you. You need air and water and shelter. So I created that for you so you can worship me. So when you fail to do that, to worship Allah Azza wa Jal and to submit to Him the way He wants, not you want. And then all you do is just eat and drink and using all these things, these resources that He created for that reason, then you're nothing. You're a failure. Don't tell me how much money you got. Don't tell me how much educated you are. Don't tell me how powerful you are. You're nothing. In the sight of Allah, you're helpless. Nothing. You're nothing. No. Or maybe, if you're going to be one thing, I can tell you what your future will be. You will be the fuel of the hellfire. That's your future. So you want to tell me you're something? Ibadallah. Today, and the time we're in now, is the time where Muslims need to show their pride. We're sick and tired of being subservient and submissive. Grow some courage. Be proud of who you are. And you know what? Oh, I am proud. In our circles, it's not enough. Oh, I'm proud. In your heart, it's not enough. Today, it's not enough. وهذا if we're going to give you benefit of the doubt, هذا أضعف الإيمان. This is the weakest of Iman. And if you're satisfied to be at the level of the weakest of the Iman, then I wonder if you will be used when the top notch of an Iman is required. You understand? If you choose for yourself to be at the bottom, that is the way, as the Prophet ﷺ said about the heart. You see evil and you cannot change it with this, with that, then you change it in your heart. Yani you condemn it. Yani you feel bad about it. Well, if we are at that point, and that's what we're satisfied with, He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, this is the weakest level of an Iman. But don't think that the people who are going to be on the forefront and the first lines and the people who are going to be the confronting, going to be the ones with the weakest level of an Iman. You're always going to be falling behind. You will always be left behind. But if you want to be used, then you need to take it a notch up. to be proud that you're Muslim, and time to tell the world that Islam is the Sunnah. Because we've seen it. I mean, I tell you, preparation for something. Shuf, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah for what's happening. Alhamdulillah for everything. But we truly believe that Allah Azza wa Jalla is Hakim. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is all wise. And whatever is happening, that we see, whatever happened from the get, whatever happens from the beginning until the day of judgment, is not deprived of the hikmah of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And Allah Azza wa Jalla had chosen us to live in a time like this. You have to be aware. Why? Why Allah Azza wa Jalla chose me to witness all that we witness? If you truly believe that Allah is Hakim, you cannot just live your life like nothing happening. You cannot just live your life and scrolling into TikTok and Instagram and Twitter videos and cry and feel bad and see all these videos coming out of Gaza or coming out of here or coming out of Myanmar and cry and say, man, I wish I can do something, and do nothing. You can't. This is not the way a Muslim behaves. And don't ask me, what can I do? You can. You know your skill. You know what you can do. Live the cause. Live the cause, at least. Make it your life. Don't surrender and accept what's happening. Just, you know what, there's nothing I can do. Prepare your mind to do. The least I can give you one advice that all of you should be doing, all of us should be doing. Become closer to Allah. ومن يعجز عن هذا هيجي يقول أنا ابن هم. Okay, so well, I cannot go fight. Nobody asked you to fight. Well, there's no way to fight. Well, nobody asked you for it. Then why you jump so to the top? Why should Shaitan plays away? Shaitan plays with you away. And then you go and you open a book with Siyah and you open a ulama and he used مثلا to read the whole Quran in one rakah, or to pray the whole night, every night, or for X amount of years he prayed Fajr with the wudu of Isha, meaning he didn't sleep in between, stayed making ibadah. From the beginning you want to do that. So you jump and you're going to pray the whole night. From the beginning, give it 2 days. You will not pray at all after that. You're not prepared. This is how the shaitan works. Comes and puts in your hand, insinuate or put in your head, listen, and I want to go fight. I want to be shaheed. You know, you see all these videos, I'm not better than them. I want to die for Allah. I want to go and help the people even if they're going to kill me. Right? And you know you can. You know the means, do not allow. If you have this idea, in Miami International Airport they will take you. That's if you made it. But you can go fight for the idea, right? You can go fight for the genocide. No problem, that's an honor. And then come back being psychopathic, being crazy Nazi, and we have to live with you. They're going back from Gaza, these Nazis, going back from Gaza, these IDF soldiers, going back into their communities, into Tel Aviv, some of them committing suicide. They're all depressed, they're all psychomaniacs, they're all killing their children, killing their spouse, killing their pets. Seriously, just go and read. That's them. That's their steps. That's their news. What you expect someone who's slaughtering innocent children all day long? Don't be fooled by these videos. Oh, here I gotta destroy, and he did it, and it exploded. Bomb a school, bomb a house, bomb a masjid. And they act like they're proud of it. Yeah, they are proud of it initially. But don't think Allah Azza wa Jalla ghafir amma ya'malu al-zalimun. Don't think that Allah Azza wa Jalla doesn't punish them. internally before externally. Don't think that Allah doesn't punish them within themselves before He allows the believer to punish them on that. Their mental institutions are overwhelmed. They cannot even attend. And then some, excuse my language, some moron comes out and tells you, what did this do for Gaza? What does this do for Palestine? What did this do? Because you measure things with buildings, with rocks, because your heart is a rock. But you can see beyond. So live and be proud as a Muslim. Ibad Allah. Now it's the time to go beyond and stop the acting that in Islam is rituals. For God's sake, we're not Sufis. We're not extreme Sufis who tell you to just sit in your house or in your room and pray all day long and do whatever you want to do and don't worry about everything else because that's the qadr of Allah. This is the mentality that they have infiltrated our societies with. Whoever adopted, we rejected. This is not what Islam, this is not the way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was time in the history of Islam, the Sunni Sufis who stick to the Sunnah, but that Sufi name was just for those who commit their lives and denounce the world and commit their life to the ibadah of Allah and to jihad fi sabilillah. Those are the ones you emulate or you imitate. And apply that to every group. We're being attacked today, big time. As you see in England, and I see it, subhanAllah, this mindset is growing very heavy in America. It's not on the streets yet, but it's coming. This anti-immigrant. You hear this, you hear the Donald Trump talking about these immigrants and how he's gonna deport, and how he's gonna pick up, and how he's gonna, right? So you cannot be so naive and expect, oh, it's not going to affect. It's a sentiment that's growing in the minds of these people. And when I look here, you're all immigrants. Maybe except me, but you're all immigrants. You know? But that's the reality. Things are coming. They're attacking us that we want to convert America. We want. But you're scared to say it. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent for mankind. Right? Didn't Allah say, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ الْعَالَمِينَ. We send you as mercy to mankind. Doesn't Allah say that in the Quran that you read? So why all day long you're trying to assimilate? Why all day long, every time you assimilate to one thing, you compromise one thing? We don't have to assimilate. We're going to live by the law, but I don't have to celebrate Halloween. Your demonic holiday. I'm not going to celebrate your Thanksgiving because I'm not a fool enough that I'm going to celebrate the genocide that you have committed against the indigenous people of this continent. But I'm going to stand for justice. I hope your system supports that. That's what my deen tells me. I'm going to respect the law or not. I'm going to live by the law of the land as long as it doesn't violate my deen. Yeah, we have a mission to bring the light to the people. But when they talk about conversion and they talk about changing the people, changing all the demographics and all that, they think of their way. Our way is different. Our way is different than your way. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فليتوبوا مستغفرين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. وصلي وسلم على خير هذه المبعوث رحمة للعباد محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. عباد الله، Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, you will not be a true follower of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam حتى تدعو إلى ما دعا إليه. على بصر. He said you will not be true follower of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam until you invite to what Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam invited to. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam invited all the people to Islam. And his mission sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was to deliver this deen to mankind. No ummah confronted and transformed and converted empires like the ummah of Islam. And we say it proudly. The Sasanians, Persians, the Byzantines, the Visigoths, the Europeans, Spain, Portugal, a lot of Europe, the kingdoms of North Africa, Central Asia, India. We did that. We confronted all these empires and we changed them. But our conversion is different than yours. We didn't go to these lands because we are power hungry, materialistic hungry, because we want wealth, because we want land. We did not go there for that, just like you do. We went there to bring them in Islam, to make Islam reach these people, and we did. And Islam stayed. Islam stayed where we went. You see, they tell us that they colonized us. They tell us the West colonized the Muslim world. Technically, they did. They lied. They conquered us, but they didn't colonize us. You know what the colonization, their goal is? For us, it's different than for them. For them, if you get in a land, then that's colonization, that's power, that's conquest. For us, we did not go to the land for that reason. We went to the land to bring them in Islam. So you will be successful in our measures, in our criteria, if you came to us and you took Islam away from us. But you failed. You failed to take Islam away from Muslims. Tell me which land that they went to, they conquered, they occupied, they committed genocide, atrocities, they robbed the people, the resources, whatever they did, enslaved the people. Show me one land that they took Islam away. One land. And not even your communist Soviet Union was able to take Islam from Muslims. Just look around. Look around this masjid and you will know what I'm talking about. These young Muslims here from this ex-Russian state, they're not, technically, logically, they're not supposed to be Muslims. Communism was on their throat and on their grandfather's throat and their father's throat for years, preventing them from reading Quran. They used to hide Quran. They used to go in tunnels. They used to dig tunnels that will lead to a cave where they will unbury, where they have buried some copies of the Mus'haf. So they will meet after the middle of the night. They will go through these tunnels. Tunnels have history in Islam, man. They will go through these tunnels, meet in a cave to learn the Quran. Because if they catch them with the Quran, death. Right? Look at them. Look how proud they are of their Islam. So don't tell me you colonized us. You failed, and you know you failed. Now your communist China or your cultural invasion took Islam away from Muslims. Where did you take Islam away? Look what they did in South America. What religion is South America? You took their religion, you took their original religions, these indigenous people, and you converted them to Catholicism or whatever that Most of them are Catholics and Christians and Jews, whatever it is. You failed to do that in Algeria. You failed to do that in Palestine. You failed to do that in India. You're failing to do that in Turkestan. I don't know. Islam, when it comes, it stays. It stays. That's why Islam is the only solution. Islam is the only way that's going to destroy the system out there. Until you can understand that. Until you should be so thankful to Allah Azza wa Jal that made you witness the reality of the world out there. Because many of us are fooled by it. For so many years, many Muslims, and the strange thing, a lot of Muslims are still fooled. Those are the ones who are going to stay behind. Those are the ones who are going to be replaced. Until today, you still have Muslims who are fooled by the system, by the world. Human rights, women's rights, kids' rights, children's rights, all that, freedom of speech, all that is gone. People are priding themselves of committing genocide. 50,000 innocent children and women and elderly are bombed and burned. Just for what they did just last week in the school. And then 2 days ago, this country decided to send another $20 billion of weapons to Nazi Israel. Don't talk to me about human rights. Only Islam guarantees the human rights. Their system is garbage. Their system is to kill and mutilate and oppress. That's what their system is. You know the only way, if you look, the only way they can take Islam away from a place where Islam is by getting people out of it, by getting Muslims out of it. And every time they did that, that place was left in chaos, in repression, in violence, every single time. Just look around. Every time. Because if you cannot uproot Islam from the hearts of the Muslims in a certain geographic area, what's the solution to get Islam out of this land? Is to drive the Muslims out. Every time they did that, they left violence behind. But they're not smart enough, because every time they drove Muslims out, these Muslims, a lot of them came to their land to continue the job. To continue the job. This is what's happening today in the UK, what's going to happen here, and what's happening in Europe for years already. This is what? This is the land of the white. I mean, we will leave the Dagestanis here. They look white, you know? You guys continue the job. I'm thinking this way. Muslims are not brown. All Muslims are not brown. All Muslims are not black. All Muslims are not Arabs. There are a lot of Muslims who are white, and they're not converts. You understand? Muslims, fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, generations back. What you going to do with those? What do you think? You going to deport them or not? That's how it is. Only Islam who can change the system. That's it. That's what's left out there. Only Islam can destroy this demonic, satanic, monstrous, colonizing corporate capitalism. Only Islam. Because it has a replacement. Because they made you feel that, oh, this is the best, capitalism is the best financial system in the world. What have you done? I can go and say, I'm against it. A lot of people out there who are not Muslims against capitalism. But what they go to? They go to socialism, communism. That's not a solution. They're both oppression. Islam is the one who gives you a solution. And there are a lot of people who don't have a replacement idea. They don't have a solution for that. They tell you this is a problem, but I don't have a solution for it. This is a problem. That's why Islam is the one who can do it. That's why only Islam who can free the world. Allah ya. Islam is the one who can deal and demolish those psychopathic, predatory 1%. that are enslaving everyone. All of us working for the one person. The Islam is the one who can do that. So a victory for Islam and victory for Muslims is victory for the world. And they need to understand that. And you're the messenger. You're the messenger. They've been hammering you down over and over and over to make you insecure and feel that you're nothing. But you are everything within Islam. You're nothing without Islam. So rise, make a difference. And they will thank us later. Learn your deen. Reconnect. Back to Allah. The masajid are still empty. Here, we have lectures. Almost every day. We have activity almost every day. Where are you? Where are the people? Where are your children? Don't be satisfied that the kids pray. We passed that. His brother comes to me. Oh, alhamdulillah, I'm so happy my kids, good Muslims and this. I ask, what good Muslim? Can you define good Muslim? Your kids, your daughters are in another state studying. You don't know what they're doing. You have no problem to send young girls to go across the country into a university that you have no clue how these universities work because you've never been to one. But you have no problem because you want her to be successful. Well, you could have done the same thing by keeping her close. Oh, she's a good Muslim. But then I'm going to give you. And a lot of people might be offended. She wears hijab. No. She prays. So what is good Muslim to you? They got us to this point that a good Muslim is just someone who says, I'm Muslim. What is good Muslim to Allah Azza wa Jalla? That's the question. You're not going to live disobeying the orders of Allah Azza wa Jalla and expect me to believe that you're a good Muslim or I'm a good Muslim. When I do not live according to the way of Allah and try my best 100%, because that's my job, that's my purpose, 100% to try to be the Muslim Allah wants, I will be embarrassed to call myself a Muslim. So seriously, you need to get out of that mindset that, well, my kids are not using drugs. My kids don't smoke. I don't know about that one. My kids don't have boyfriends, girlfriends, so they're good Muslims. Get out of here. Like seriously, get out of here. Those are the ones you expect to make difference for this world. Wake up. Wake up. If you don't pray and your kid comes to tell you, Dad, you have to pray, I will say that's what it is. If you have a kid who's going to come in the house and see something haram or hear something haram in the house and he's going to tell his parents, this is haram, you cannot have it here, then I can tell you these other things. They understand their purpose. When you have kids who tell you, you know what, all these kuffars around, I don't want to put me somewhere where Allah Muslims. These are good kids. When you have a kid who tells you, we need to go to the masjid because we need to pray, we need to be around Muslims, that's a good kid. That's a good Muslim kid. Because I don't expect this Muslim kid will be ignoring or neglecting his prayers. And that's your job, to instill all these things in your kids. Your kids who are 24/7 on TikTok and sing, whatever that. Sing. What is it? Snap, chat, and all that. Those kids are being brainwashed and you have no idea. You have no idea. And don't be crying when they come and tell you, well, this Islam doesn't fit me anymore. Don't be surprised, and I'm just preparing you. When you have no problem to put all these devices between their hands, with no monitoring, with no whatever, don't come and tell me, well, I want to give them independence. You're not giving them independence. You're just making them dependent on others than you. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with our parenting? What's wrong with our responsibilities? You have no problem to open the door of your house for any person to come in. You don't do that. You lock your house. You don't allow anybody to come in. Well, what's the difference between that and them being on these things, communicating with whoever God on this world, and you don't care? What's the difference? You tell me what's the difference? Just they're not physically facing each other. We're talking about ideas. We're talking about mentality. We're talking about hearts. We're talking about poison that they can be absorbed. Inputs, 24/7, inputs. And you want to tell me you have a good kid? If your kid is a companion, I will be worried about it. If your kid is a sahabi, I will be worried about him sitting in 24/7 in front of these social medias, just taking. What are you talking about? Well, that is something that you can go for it. You ask what can I do? There is something you can. Be in control of your house. You're a mother, be in control of your house. You're a father, be in control of your house. You make sure what goes on in your house. And stop with this mentality. I'm on my way. Here's the highway. There's no highway. You fail with your trust that Allah entrusted you with. ما من مؤمن يسترعيه الله رعية يموت يوم يموت وهو غاش برعيته إلا حرم الله عليه الجنة. Then you are just failing to fulfill the trust Allah entrusted you. The Prophet said you will be deprived of paradise. There you go. That's enough for put your foot down and establish the Islamic rules, not the way. And I know these words are heavy on all of us because we know it's difficult. But ista'in billah wa la ta'jaz. Rely on Allah. Be sincere with Allah. Sit with your family. Tell them this is what we need to do. This is what Allah wants. And step by step, you will see miracles. Technical. You will see crazy stuff. But we always trust ourselves. Trust Allah for once that He's the one who can change the hearts. You will see big difference. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين، اللهم اذل الشرك والمشركين، اللهم انصر اخواننا المستضعفين في مشارق الارض ومغاربها يا رب العالمين، اللهم ردنا الى دينك ردا جميلا، اللهم اجعل الحياه زياده لنا في كل خير، اللهم اجعل الموت راحه لنا من كل شر، اللهم من ارادنا واراد ديننا بخير فيسره لكل خير، ومن ارادنا واراد ديننا بشر فخذه اخذ عزيز مقتدر، اللهم ارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه، وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه، اللهم احفظ عيال المسلمين، اللهم احفظ ابناء وبنات المسلمين يا رب العالمين، اللهم انصر اخواننا في فلسطين على اليهود الغاشمين، اللهم عليك باليهود فانهم لا يعجزونك، اللهم خذهم اخذ عزيز مقتدر، اللهم عليك بالصليبيين فانهم لا يعجزونك، اللهم خذهم اخذ عزيز مقتدر، اللهم ردنا الى دينك ردا جميلا، اللهم ردنا الى دينك ردا جميلا، اللهم فرج الغم عن اهل السودان، اللهم فرج الغم عن اخواننا في السودان وفي ميانمار وفي كل مكان يا رب العالمين، في الكونغو وفي مالي وفي افريقيا يا رب العالمين، اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين.